somebody was recently trolled for dialogues, right? I don't know what the process was, but it's still the director.
You want to name them?
He's my friend. So,
okay.
but still the director is the one that's saying, "I want these dialogues."
Yeah,
so, that technical knowledge would really help that person who's working so hard on his craft. He might have been brilliant in another film, so let's give it that. Photography, editing, everything is also under a captain, or even a studio who's controlling the captain. We don't know. I'm just saying that. So that part of it is a little tough to zero in on one specific person who might have messed up the film, like usually the editor.
yeah.
Editor ki galti hai.
Yeah, because I think there was a video sometime back that went viral that said, it was talking about how editors, the editing could have been crisper. Is a review that you find in almost every review, as if it's like a packet of chips. It's just like the editing could have been crisper. So when a reviewer does not give your film a good review, let's say it's not even a trolling kind of review. Let's say it's just a very dispassionately written review that says this film has all these things and yet it's not working because of XYZ reasons. How personal does it become? Because filmmaking is such a, like he just said, blood, sweat and tears and all that's happened. So are you able to kind of distance yourself and kind of see that, or are you just looking at the XYZ reasons? It's like it's
not immediately for sure. It takes time, right? I mean, you usually spend a year, 2 years thinking you made this film and you're shitting bricks on the day of the release, and the moment good reviews start coming, you're like, oh yeah, I'm cool. I just made this great film. If there are a lot of good reviews and some bad reviews, set the bad reviews aside for now and maybe revisit them like a month later when you've gone through this wave. But if there's a lot of bad reviews, then I think it becomes very hard to read them right then, because first you have to let the emotions go and maybe pick it up like a couple of months later and say, okay, now let me see what went wrong back then. Otherwise, it's too fresh.
So you're saying when you have some distance from the film as well?
Yeah, you need time to do that. You can't do that on the Friday of your release. Impossible. You're hoping the critic is wrong and everybody else will prove him wrong.
I think
on Saturday.
I was going to keep my mic away and not talk anymore, but the summary is everything is personal. When people say, no, don't take it personally, it is fucking personal. Everything is personal. In the movies also, they shoot somebody and say, listen, man, it's not personal. Danda hai. I said, fuck you, it's personal. It's always personal. You just bottle it up.
So Anu, you've been very silent. I think you should give us some words of wisdom.
I want to say, but Raj, the truth is, for people like us, we do what we do because we love the movies, right? My whole adult life has been about watching movies and talking about movies and sitting like in the trenches of Hindi cinema and just reporting on what's happening. So for me, movies are personal, right? So when it's a bad film, I'm shattered. Like I take it very, like, I feel very bad. When I see something really terrible, I remember there was one film, I can't remember, it was just one of those really bad ones which aren't even so bad that they're good.
Comedy film.
नहीं sir, आपकी picture नहीं थी. और वो शुरू हुई रात के 9 बजे, मैं 12 बजे घर जा रही हूँ इतनी गंदी पिक्चर देख के, और बारिश में I've left my kids. I'm like, what is my life? I'm just going to age watching bad films, right? So I do take it personally, and which is perhaps
which is the
where
part
it
you
comes
take
from.
personally? Your aging or the
bad part?
The bad part.
Aging का तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते यार.
I agree. It is a personal thing for the reviewers too, for the critics too, for the audience. They can come and give you the worst possible bad words, and they can. It's their right to. So I'm saying critic. That's what I'm saying. You cannot tell what a critic should not say. Back to that point, it's personal to them. I said, why would you waste my time? And what did you do? And also, especially somebody you like and you think last film was good. What happened to you? What the fuck happened to you? Yeah. So it is personal to everybody. Films are the most personal things in our lives. Right. In most of them.
Like even you as a filmmaker, like you go watch a movie, you're likely to come back home and call somebody and say, that was a bloody piece of shit, It's like, you're not, except that it's not being published outside. And if you probably meet the filmmaker, you'll say, wow, that was really amazing movie.
We used to have two terms when we come out of a film and you don't know what to say now. Because, personally you said to Sucharita, like, fuck, what the fuck was that?
And like,
Then you come out and say,
great
Costume was
locations,
amazing.
amazing costumes.
amazing. No. Or there is a,
That's a
So
code.
sometimes, what
That's
do you
the
do?
code.
Like,
So
you
if you
pick
say amazing
something.
costumes, that's
amazing
like...
that you say, that was a film.
It was a film.
You say, you
a
did it
euphemism.
again.
Euphemisms.
No, but I also think that this conversation is only focusing on the negatives. Like when we like a film, we go out of our way to like dance and tweet and promote and share over and over again. Anu runs a whole platform which is for celebration of films. The agenda behind the platform is to celebrate the movies that we produce in our country. And when a movie is good that we like on our personal... Film criticism is not news. We're not delivering news. Everyone is writing from their own lived experience of life, what their interests are, who they are as people. And when something feels right to us that we want more people to see, we will share it over and over again. After the film is done, it's come and gone, we will sit with the directors, do interviews with the directors, analyze the film so more people can understand the joy that films bring to us also, and that we want to spread to everyone who's also perhaps not had chance to watch the film yet. तो अच्छी बातें भी होती हैं.
अच्छी बात
It is
होती है,
not
वो
just
बहुत
bad
अच्छा
stuff.
लगता है।
नहीं,
Yeah,
अच्छी
होती
बातें
है,
होती है,
that-
but
yeah.
there's like stars bleeding out there. So I was like, trying to get
ये
to
बहुत-
the general mode of the...
And we take all the achhi baat for granted. I'm like, of course, I'm a cool
अच्छी
filmmaker.
Yeah.
अच्छी
What
बात
is
Of course
Yeah.
सबको मेरा interview
Otherwise,
चाहिए.
what did the guy say? You bitch. What did he say?
Yeah.
Right?
You
The bad
miserable
review, that's what it
bitch.
is.
That's
नहीं,
what
अच्छी-
it is. It's
अच्छी
like-
बातें जो है ना बहुत अच्छी लगती है। और मुझे लगता है कि अगर आप फिल्मों को बहुत प्यार करते हैं, सिर्फ इतना रीज़न मुझे नहीं लगता कि कंप्लीट है कि, क्योंकि मैं ऐसे बहुत लोगों को जानता हूँ जो फिल्मों से बहुत प्यार करते हैं एंड दे हैव अ ज़ीरो नॉलेज ऑफ फिल्म। अगर उनसे बात करें क्यों अच्छी लगी, नहीं बस बहुत अच्छी है, बट वाई, तो वो सिर्फ फिल्मों से प्यार है इसीलिए हम बहुत अच्छा क्रिटिसाइज कर सकते हैं या लिख सकते हैं।
Sure,
मुझे
नहीं,
लगता है
नहीं,
दैट इज़
वो
नॉट
नहीं,
इनफ,
no, no, not
क्योंकि
at all.
मैंने ऐसी बहुत फिल्में देखी हैं जिसमें लोगों ने उन फिल्मों की बहुत बुराई की। मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि सारे लोग, उसमें से कुछ लोगों की मैं बहुत इज्जत करता हूँ और कुछ अच्छी चीज़ें लगती हैं तो मैं सीखना भी चाहता हूँ, लेकिन मुझे पर्सनली लगता है कि 90%, 95% जो लोग लिख रहे हैं वो शायद अपने यूज़र्स को आज की तारीख में खुश करने के लिए लिख रहे हैं
Pandering.
और अपना एक व्यूवरशिप बढ़ाने के लिए, फॉर मनी, फॉर उनका पैसा, वो बहुत सारे रीजंस हैं अलावा इसके कि भाई फिल्मों से हमें प्यार है। इसलिए कि ये एक बहुत मेहनत से फिल्में जो बनाई होती है, अगर उन फिल्मों को नुकसान होता है किसी की इस तरह लिखने से, तो मुझे पर्सनली लगता है कि वो बहुत ही अजीब सा लगता है मुझे।
तो कल ही का न्यूज़ है, ये तमिल फिल्म इंडस्ट्री के बारे में है। तो द प्रोड्यूसर्स जस्ट सेड कि जब एक फिल्म रिलीज होती है तो तभी रिव्यू मत लिखो, 3 दिन के बाद लिखो, बिकॉज कम से कम ऑफिशियली कुछ नहीं आएगा, जो भी होगा ट्विटर में होगा, वर्ड ऑफ माउथ होगा, ऑल दैट काइंड ऑफ स्टफ विल हैपन, बट ऑफिशियल रिव्यूज जो होंगे वो 3 दिन के बाद आएंगे। डू थिंक
पहले ऐसे होता था?
नहीं, वो पहले
that's-
बिकॉज मीडिया इतना ऐसा डिफरेंट था ना।
या
That's like changing the definition of journalism. A journalist's job is to give tomorrow's news today. This implies you're giving today's Basi news 3 days later. It
Right.
just changes
It
the
won't-
definition of journalism.
So you're saying it's
it
not
has
gonna work.
absolutely no merits. Absolutely.
Right. So when when the like Aniji just said, when there are films that are released and a lot of people are now looking at reviewing as a mode of self promotion, they're not saying कि picture अच्छी है बुरी है वो नहीं कह रहे हैं, they're just looking at it as a mode of like how can I troll this film in the best possible way so that like I sound very witty and कि लोग पसंद करेंगे, because see today there's no doubt about it, negativity sells, right? The more negative you are, people come to see you than if you write a good positive review. That's inevitable. That's the way the world is. So how do you see that? It's like
I think the honest journalist, जैसे लोग बोल रहे थे ना कि मुझे बहुत मोहब्बत है फिल्मों से, that is not enough. You have to be in love with films, and you have to be in love with your readers, viewers, whoever. You have to be in love with them. You have to say that every person who's going to read my review or watch my review and decide whether he wants to see the film, I owe it to that person to be honest to the best of my ability. मर जाऊं तो मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूंगा. I can go wrong. That should be, only that person can be a critic or a reviewer or a trade analyst, because otherwise इतने सारे reviews है. You owe something to your readers, to your viewers. They are looking up to you कि क्या बोल रही है अनुपमा, क्या बोल रही है सुचारिता, क्या बोल रहा है कोमल. That honesty and integrity is more important than anything else. Love for cinema हो जाएगा. But probably we sitting here, at least I can talk for myself, I don't know nothing except films. I'm a zero in life, in every other sphere of life. You talk about politics, I can't talk for more than 5 minutes. Cricketers, मुझे मालूम भी नहीं कौन है हमारी cricket team में. I can't recognize one cricketer from the other. I'm a chartered accountant by qualification. I don't know figures.
What?
I don't know figures. The only figures I understand is film figures. So I'm saying, it has to be that love for cinema coupled with the promise you make to yourself that my readers are my whole and soul. उससे मुझे कितना पैसा मिलता है, नहीं मिलता है, that will follow if you're honest. Honesty cannot go in waste, cannot just, it can't go just waste. You will get money. And कौन से डॉक्टर ने या कौन से भगवान से हमने लिखवा के लाए हैं कि मुझे इतना ही कमाना है. आपकी जो वर्थ है उतना आप कमाएंगे. So for trolling or for your aim can't be at somebody else's expense. Your aim can't be कि मुझे कितनी followers मिलते हैं, मुझे कितने likes मिलते हैं. Personally I'm saying I never bother to read the comments, because if I write bad, I know I'm going to get a lot of people saying, fantastic, you have the guts. But what do y'all know? Y'all are just trolling me or giving me the thumbs up because y'all have an axe to grind. I don't have any axe to grind.
सर आपको तो नाम ट्रेंड हो जाता है ट्विटर पे, 5 मिनट नहीं लगते एक ट्वीट के बाद. हैशटैग कोमल नाटा ट्रेंडिंग.
No, it's you have to be honest. That is the bottom line.
I had something which is a bit of an aside, like, because going to your original question of, how do we feel about, what critics say? I think that it is important for critics to, that's my personal opinion, for critics to have some sense of an idea about the intent of the film and some sort of education. I don't mean like a course necessarily, because, I have found a lot of misogynist kind of reviews as well, where you feel like they're not understanding, which is why it's so important for...
Preach!
Yeah. They're not... like, I remember for my first film, Turning 30, I had some really... very, very misogynist things said about it. It's fine that people like the film or didn't like the film, but, people saying, like, why is the female protagonist, why is she spooning the guy, and like all kinds of weird things which are basically reflective of a certain mindset that doesn't understand what the life of a woman can be. So sometimes I think that it is important for critics to have a sense of a perspective that is a bit larger, where they can see what the film is trying to say, where it's coming from. And sometimes there are films that are, of a more alternative perspective, because those kind of films, there is not that kind of history of those kind of films and those kind of voices. So I think every film can't be judged in the same way. So I think those kind of conversations are important, because I think films are also like a sort of mirror to society, and a sort of like... a critique and a sort of challenge to the status quo at many times. So I think it's also important to be able to see sometimes the larger context of a film and not get, and not, basically not, like, sometimes I think like people are not understanding where the film is coming from and what it's saying. Not to say that that makes it a great film, but sometimes to be criticized because, you're like the perspective of the person criticizing it is misogynist. I think that is also like something that I have experienced.
To Alankrita's point, Brie Larson, right, Oscar winner, she enters the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and one of the things she says, an offhand comment in an interview, is that we need more female film critics because most of the film critics are men, straight white men in American who are writing, and she that pissed people off so bad that they went to IMDb and downvoted the film before it released to like some 1 point or 2 points and things like that. So film criticism is not IMDb ratings, 2 stars or 3 stars. You're also people who are, like Alankrita said, looking at a film with the intent that it is made, who is making it, what is the context behind the film, what is the process of the filmmaker, and a little bit like who is the filmmaker, what they've made before, what is are they referencing other filmmakers, etc., that kind of thing. It's so bringing fresher voices into film criticism also is where I think that we are headed and should be headed as well.
What you just spoke about is, it's like, I think it's a trend that's picking up, right? The whole concept of review bombing. Like people, like groups of people have gone en masse and started downgrading a film. And I think in a situation like that, it's more important than ever before to have some trusted voices, like some critics who, even if suddenly on IMDb the film is showing 2 because it's been review bombed, you're looking at all these critics that you trust, and they're all saying good things about the movie. So I think it becomes more important now than even before, I feel, in present day scenario, to have honest, knowledgeable, respected voices speaking about a film.
Right. So I think we'll take a few questions from the audience. And yes, sir.
बिल्कुल आपकी बात सही है, लेकिन जो जिम्मेदार क्रिटिक्स हैं, जो बहुत कम हैं, कई लोग हैं जो बहुत ही खूबसूरती से, बहुत ही नाप तोल कर लिखते हैं, लेकिन ये जिस तरह के लोग या बात कर रहे हैं, ये बहुत ज़्यादा लोग हो गए हैं, और वो सिर्फ, मैंने पहले जैसे कहा कि अपने यूज़र्स बढ़ाने के लिए और उनकी लाइकिंग बढ़ाने के लिए इस तरह पर, ये एक तरह से नाटक जो चल रहा है, नाटक करते हैं ये, तो वो इसीलिए कर रहे हैं कि भाई वो अपने अपने जो बात कर रहे हैं और उनके यूज़र्स बढ़ जाएं। और तो मुझे नहीं लगा, लोग बहुत ज़्यादा देखते हैं, लेकिन शायद आपको ये पता नहीं कि लोग इसलिए भी देखते हैं कुछ लोगों को कि यार इसको देख के बड़ा मज़ा आएगा, हंसेंगे, तो फिल्म के बारे में उतना समझना और सीखना नहीं चाहते हैं, और वो जानना नहीं चाहते हैं कि भाई ये इसके क्या ओपिनियन है फिल्म के बारे में, वो क्या बोल रहा है उस पर हंसना चाहते हैं। मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ। कई हमारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिनको, मेरे कई दोस्त हैं जो बोलते हैं, मैंने बोला क्यों देखते हो यार इनको, बोले यार बहुत मज़ा आता है, इनको बहुत हंसी आती है हमको, तो बोले आपकी जो फिल्मों में कॉमेडियंस होते हैं उनसे थोड़ा ज़्यादा अच्छा करते हैं लोग।
One thing I want to say is that I think that there are a lot of people who get into film criticism because it's considered glamorous and because your name gets out there, but they don't like films. I mean, they don't like Hindi films. They don't like Tamil films. Or they like English films. So if somebody uses a technique in an Indian film, they treat it a different way. But if the same technique is used in a Hollywood film or a European film or something like that, they look at it differently. So I'm like, I think a cynicism has crept into the way people approach movies. Oh, this is going to be a bad movie. I don't know why I'm wasting my time even going to this movie, but I have to review this movie, so I'm just going to go to this movie and review it. So when you go in with that mindset, then you're automatically kind of like pre-programming yourself to dislike the film. And I think that's happening a lot these days. So just wanted to add that. So, yeah. You have a question.
Justin here from Indian Express. My question is to all the filmmakers on stage, Alankrita, Anis. So towards your right, here. Yeah. My question is to all the filmmakers on stage, Alankrita, Anisa, Rajan DK. What are some of the worst lines or paragraphs from a bad review of your film? that has stayed with you? Something so nasty that you felt like speechless.
याद रहता है?
I don't know. I don't remember.
They'll take off their shirts, it's tattooed.
I wish I'm glad I don't remember those. But the only I can't. Can you?
या मुझे एक याद है
कितने सुनने हैं बता.
वेलकम का जो रिव्यू एक आया था कि ये फिल्म जब शुरू होती है तो ऐसा लगता है कि ऑडियंस के पास एक आदमी खड़ा हुआ है जो स्क्रू ड्राइवर लेके उनके दिमाग में धीरे धीरे स्क्रू डाल रहा है और जैसे जैसे फिल्म बढ़ती जाती है वो स्क्रू आपके दिमाग में घुसता चला जाता है. तो ये मुझे बड़ी अच्छी लाइन लगी थी, तो ये याद है मुझे. ये मैं कहीं डालूंगा डायलॉग.
Alankrita, for you and Raj and Nikki, come on, there must be some line.
I remember that spooning line that has just stayed with me. Where they were like, why does Gul Panag's character spooning Purab's character? I think it just has stayed with me because I thought it was so odd and why that, like lots of, yeah.
I have a question for the former critic sitting next to me, actually. I'm just curious, has he gone over to the dark side or was he on the dark side and has gone over to the light side? What is he? This is Raja Sen, who is a co-writer on Chup, who's a former famous critic. Wow. I'm really curious. Has he moved to the dark side or have you moved to the bright side?
I think it's up to all of you now to see what we've done and to see if that's the right move for me or whether I need to go back and figure out better how to judge what I'm doing.
Hi, this is Priyanka. My question is to all the filmmakers. Bollywood bashing has become quite fashionable these days, on the internet especially, with the numbers throwing in that the flop picture hai, bekar picture hai. So as filmmakers, do you sometimes get a sense, or does it get difficult for you to discern which critic is coming from a space of just criticizing the film, or does it, or coming from a space of really an agenda to, push this boycott Bollywood or bash Bollywood or ban Bollywood propaganda which is going on? Or do you also get a sense of that this is paid? Because these are the things that we keep
By
hearing.
now, most of the people who are not just filmmakers, even audience who are clued in, they all know who's saying what and why. So you kind of pick and choose. You want for entertainment, you watch the funny guy from whoever, the YouTube guy who's generally fake-ifying, and you listen to it and laugh. And you want a good one, you go to somebody else. So you kind of know where each one is coming from. You're discerning right then and there. So I think it's okay. I mean, people talk and already it's a paid review. You paid the article. Or, so for me, it doesn't matter. And I feel like a lot of people, it shouldn't matter really. You pick and choose what you want to see. What kind of news you want to follow, what kind of people you want to follow is what I feel.
This one is addressed to the critics. Any one of them or all three of them can answer, four of them can answer. Do film critics have favorites? And if they do, how easy or how difficult it is to distance themselves from that favorite while reviewing a film?
Everyone has favorites in the sense that I like watching this particular filmmaker's work because she is an exciting filmmaker and I want to see what they're doing next. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing next. But having said that, professionally, when you watch the film and you walk out of the film and you assemble your thoughts, you do your research, everybody's process is different. For a professional film critic, it's not very difficult to acknowledge your biases first and then उसके बाद आप लिखें जो आप लिखना चाह रहे हैं और कहें उसको अपनी ऑनेस्टी से. कौन सा कहते हैं ऑनेस्टी से लिखना पड़ेगा और उसके अलावा कोई चारा नहीं है. मुझे अलंकृता का काम बहुत पसंद है. मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ उनकी सारी फिल्में देखने के लिए. वो फीमेल फिल्म मेकर है, अपनी कहानियाँ कहती हैं. पर जब मुझे उनका काम पसंद नहीं आता तो उसको क्यों पसंद नहीं आया उसको भी कॉन्टेक्चुअलाइज करना इम्पॉसिबल काम नहीं है. वो हो जाता है ऑनेस्टी के साथ. जितने आप प्रोफेशनल हो उस पर निर्भर करता है, आई थिंक.
I had one more question. I had a question for the critics, if I could ask, please.
I think Balki wants to give the closing words.
Then that's fine.
Yeah, Chup.
हो गया बस, done.
एक
Thank
सवाल
you
मैं
very
हिंदी में
much.
पूछना चाहता हूँ.
जी.
एक हिंदी फिल्म का आप लोग कर रहे हैं, यहाँ पर डिबेट हो रही है और अनीस भाई का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने हिंदी में भी थोड़ा सी बीच में बातचीत की।
मुझे हिंदी आती भाई।
और तो मुझे एक सवाल, दो सवाल थे एक्चुअली। एक तो ये सवाल कि जब हिंदी फिल्म के ऊपर एक सेमिनार हो रहा है, उसमें कोई हिंदी फिल्म समीक्षक आपके मंच पर क्यों नहीं है? दूसरा सवाल मैं फिल्मकारों से पूछना चाहता हूं कि अगर कोई फिल्म समीक्षक आपकी फिल्म की समीक्षा, फिल्म खराब हो सकता है उसकी वजह से लिखे या कोई और भी कारण हो सकता है, बाद में जब वो आपका इंटरव्यू कभी लेने आता है, क्या मन में वो खलिश तब भी रहती है?
मैं थोड़ा इसका जवाब दूं।
जी कोमल जी।
मैं रिव्यूज अंग्रेजी में लिखता हूं क्योंकि मैगजीन फिल्म इंफॉर्मेशन अंग्रेजी में है, अभी ऑनलाइन है, मगर मेरे यूट्यूब वीडियोस और मेरा यूट्यूब चैनल हिंदी का है, तो मैं बोलता हिंदी
नहीं, आपने कहा कि आप ट्रेड एनालिस्ट हैं, फिल्म क्रिटिक नहीं है। मैं फिल्म क्रिटिक की बात कर रहा था।
मुझे फिल्म रिव्यूअर के तौर पर बुलाया। मैं फिल्म मेकर नहीं हूं, तो मेरा पोजीशन यहाँ पर फिल्म रिव्यूअर का ही है।
नहीं, आपने खुद कहा था, इसलिए मैंने सवाल पूछा।
इसलिए मैंने जवाब।
हाँ। जी बताएं। नहीं, जवाब तो देने दो यार।
सवाल क्या है?
सवाल ये है कि कोई फिल्म समीक्षक जब आपकी फिल्म की समीक्षा अच्छी नहीं लिखता है और वो जब आपका इंटरव्यू लेने आता है कुछ दिन बाद, तो आपके मन में कोई दुर्भावना होती है क्या?
खलिश होती है मन में?
नहीं, मैं
ऐसा होता है कि इंटरव्यू पहले ले लेते हैं।
Of course. Sorry, my problem is I would love to. I mean,
should I ask the question in English?
नहीं, हिंदी समझ में आती है।
Then we'll accuse you.
मेरी हिंदी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है क्योंकि मैं भी इंडिया में हूँ लेकिन डिफरेंट स्टेट में से, सो वहाँ से हिंदी इतना पढ़ाई नहीं की हमने, लेकिन इतना सीखा मैंने फ्रेंड्स से, सो नॉट अ प्रॉब्लम. I do. I mean, if there was an agenda or a bitterness or a certain personal feeling that has come into a review for no good reason, I do remember that one reviewer for a while, and I gave up after that because there's no use in keeping bitterness, because I realized later it was done because of a certain specific personal feeling. That's just one odd. Kabhi hota hai, but you can't take him seriously after that, him or her later seriously. So hota hai. Sorry about my bad हिंदी.
जी, मेरा नाम संजय मिश्रा है और कोमल सर से मेरे को ये जानना था. देखिए, इस बातचीत को थोड़ी दिलचस्प बनाते हैं क्योंकि हम क्रिटिक की बात करें. सर कभी
चलिए अभी ये लास्ट कमाल था.
Once more.
I think I peed my pants a little.